Alright, today I'm going to start telling you guys a story that I've been working on. I hope you enjoy it. It's not necessarily the brightest of stories, so just a warning to you all. So, as a child, I've always seen these things that you don't normally see. And to others, they just say it was my imagination. To my parents, they just thought I was overactive. They just thought my thoughts weren't my own. They thought I watched too much TV, I read too many books, I played with too many kids who weren't necessarily right in the mind. And, for me, I took it in stride. I thought they were right. I didn't realize the truth. The truth that I would find out soon enough. And so, the visions, the things I saw would go as time went on. As I got older, as I got younger, all that stuff changed to me. Averagely, I was doing okay. Didn't see anything. But then I hit 16. For some reason, everything changed at 16. I started seeing them again, but they came back in full force. Not only was what I was normally seeing there, even more was seen. As a matter of fact, it was a lot more powerful, the visions, I would say. They took over more of what I saw, everything I saw. I would be walking down just a sidewalk, and I would see cardboard boxes. I would see cobblestone. I would see a world within a world, something that I shouldn't be seeing, something that doesn't exist, but I knew it existed because it was me who saw it, no one else. And people just couldn't understand. They didn't understand. They didn't believe me. They didn't feel that what I was saying is true. They didn't know what I was saying is true. They just chalked it up to my imagination. They said I was going crazy. They didn't believe me. And so, you know, I started not believing myself either. I started thinking it was wrong. It didn't exist. I didn't accept what I saw. I thought, I was firmly accepted in reality. But my reality was wrong. I found that out the hard way. And so, as I kept walking, I was walking home one day. And before I could leave the school, something crazy happened, something that shouldn't have happened. I saw a shadow of someone with a cloak, someone with a dagger, walking towards me. And they stabbed me. They put the blade in my stomach multiple times, just over and over and over again. They were cloaked figures. I couldn't see them clearly. I just knew they weren't there. It was the wrong reality. But I felt the pain. I felt myself bleeding. I looked down. I saw the blood. I started spasming. I started feeling the pain the way that you would. The sharp stabbing feeling, the life fading from my eyes. I fell to the floor. I started convulsing on the ground. And people saw me. Someone called 911. Someone called my parents. I went to the hospital. This was a Wednesday. And so I was laying in the hospital bed, and they were just trying to figure out what was wrong because there was nothing wrong. My body was okay. I was just imagining it, so to speak. It was like I was going crazy, like I was actually going crazy. And I couldn't believe it. So the doctors came and decided to do psychological tests on me to make sure that I was okay. Because mentally, I don't think I was there. I don't think they thought I was there. But I didn't believe them at first. So I went through test after test. They gave me evaluation after evaluation. And eventually they found that, or at least they said, I might have schizophrenia. I might have other problems that they can't diagnose quite yet, though. They weren't sure. And so they gave me a cocktail of pills, many things to take, things that would help, so they say. It would help quite well. Keep me from seeing these things, keep things from going crazy. And I didn't take them. No, I don't take pills. I don't like pills. I've never liked pills. I've never wanted to take them. So that pill cocktail wasn't going to happen. Of course, I say that, but later on I started taking pills frequently. You'll find out why, though. And so, during this week, with psychiatric evals and them physically testing me, make sure I was okay, maybe finding if I really was stabbed and I just healed for some reason really fast. They weren't sure, but they wanted to test. They test. During this time, none of my friends could see me. I didn't see any of my friends. I didn't realize they were prevented from seeing me. No, I thought they didn't show up. And when they didn't show up, I was angry. I got real angry. I thought they abandoned me. I thought they didn't care. Heck, I was more angry that they didn't even bring me my homework assignments I were missing, that the class assignments I was missing. My grades were going to drop. I was going to be behind. It was just there was something wrong with that for me. I couldn't let myself be injured for a week or mentally out for a week and then just lose all the assignments, all the progress that I had in class. I didn't want my grades to slip. I was starting to finally get that 4.0, that perfect grade, because I wasn't always a 4.0 student. No, I was a 3.0 student. But this year I was getting that 4.0. I was so close to being perfect. My grades were on the cusp though. Missing an assignment, missing two assignments would be all it took for me to drop. And so I was angry. No one showed up, no one said hi, no one checked to see if I was all right. And I just thought that was because they didn't care. I didn't know the truth. So I show up. I go back to the school one day. Finally, a week later, it was another Wednesday. And I'm there, and the visions are still coming. But they're bothering me less now. I don't see them as strongly. It's like they come and go. And honestly, I'm glad they came and went. It's just I felt it every time I saw the cobblestone of the Oldham Road. I heard the neighing of a horse. I saw the carriage. It came and went, and I felt good knowing it's already gone. As a matter of fact, it made me feel the best that I had this weird control, this weird reality that was my own, that no one else could see, and I had the control over whether or not I saw it. I had control over whether others knew I saw it. But I also was wary of it, the danger it presented, the pain. I had to be careful, because if someone else knew I had this reality, and they didn't believe me, or if I got hurt again in this reality, I could be in trouble. They would know I wouldn't have taken the pills. And I wasn't going to tell anybody. No, if I told someone, they would know the truth. And not only that, but none of my friends, they weren't trustworthy. They abandoned me at times where I needed them the most, I think. So obviously I wouldn't tell them the truth. I wouldn't let them know anything. So I show back up, and I meet my quote-unquote best friend, someone I thought was my best friend, He was the type of person who would hide dead bodies for you. He forged signatures. He wrote fake letters. He hacked the school systems to change grades on the report cards. He was that guy. He was the one who knew how to do anything and everything that was illegal or maybe shady to get what he wanted. And honestly, I knew everything he did. It was one of those ways of me and him, we bonded. We were very close. So when he didn't show up for me, I was pissed. Especially because he was someone that I thought I could trust my life with. When I saw him next, though, he handed me a stack of papers, said, "Here's your assignments." He basically was just kind of trying to figure out what happened, why he couldn't see me. He came multiple times to the hospital to see me. And every time he was turned away, it was like they didn't want us meeting. It was like they were trying to isolate me from those I knew. Like it was a problem for me to know them. And he was frustrated with that, very frustrated, because he didn't like the fact that I was hurt, or at least thought I was hurt. He didn't like the fact that someone injured me, or that something went wrong. And so he was angry, very angry. He told me we would talk after class, when we had a chance, when I could tell him what happened, the truth. And so our friendship was fixed right there. That stack of papers was all the assignments that I would have missed for the week, but they were all completed, and he forged my handwriting. He doesn't even do his own papers normally. But the work he did was what I would normally do for quality, if not better. And he got it ready for me so I could turn it in. And I thanked him, because if I didn't, I'd feel bad. Not only that, but I realized he was loyal. He just couldn't see me because my family, the doctors, said no, which sparked a weird sense of rage inside me. I was very upset with them. But so, I met up with him after class, after school was over, and we were talking. And he asked me what happened. I started explaining. I explained slowly at first, because I wasn't sure what I should say. And then I told him about when I got stabbed by the figure, the thing that shouldn't have existed, the reality that doesn't exist. And he looked at me. There was a sparkle in his eyes, and the words out of his mouth shocked me right then and there. "You too?" His voice rang. It rang with a sort of happiness and relief that I've never seen someone have before. It was like someone who was lost and alone finally found someone who knew knew his pain, knew his feelings. And he said to me, I've been waiting for someone else to be like me. You're my best friend, man, but this is just something I couldn't tell you, you know? I trust you, but you would have said I was crazy. But now you know what I'm going through. You know the same thing I am. And the thing is, there's more. There's more to see, more to do. You don't realize how special, how precious that is. How precious your gift is that you were given. The ability to see a different reality. The same reality I do. And now, I know you're thinking that this isn't a special gift. This isn't something precious. No, but it is. It is the most precious gift someone could give you. The gift of having a second world. Somewhere to escape to when everything's going wrong. And so, I went with him. I went to his house. We were talking. He kept talking about this other world. This world that I could see. That I didn't think was real. How there was knights, dragons, wizards, sorcerers. How there were rogues, and I thought it was just a fantasy. There were fairies, and there was demons, there was devils. And how he was a master thief. He was trained by some thief guy, some thief god legend. And that's where he learned all his skills and tricks from. That's how he could do what he did. That's how he knew how to hide bodies. That's how he knew where to go. But I didn't believe him at first, you know? Because while he sounded like he knew my plight, he also sounded like there was something different, a different world. And that world fascinated me. I wanted to see it. I wanted to be there. But I didn't think that if I was, it'd be right. I thought maybe, just maybe, going to that second world would be something like a drug-induced dream, something that shouldn't exist. But I wasn't sure. And I wasn't going to say, hey, no. I took the time to listen. I listened to him and I was ready. I was ready to understand what's going on with him, what he thought was going on. And so, I asked him, come on, how do you see this other world? And he just smiled at me and said, this is how you see this other world. And he took out a pill, one of the pills they gave me for my cocktail. It was a small blue pill. And he was just like, he said, this pill for some reason doesn't do what it's supposed to. I thought that was I thought that was weird. It doesn't do what it's supposed to. What do you mean? And it's like, when you take it, you'll see this reality isn't your reality. This is more of an illusion than the other world. The other world you can see, way cooler, way brighter, way more vivid. It's almost like the other world is more real than this world. Your reality will change. I was confused and I was lost. But I decided to believe him and I took the pill. I was prescribed it anyways. So it's not like I was doing something wrong. When I took it, everything around me just changed. The world seemed to fade from me. The carpet was gone. The bed, it was gone. The light, it was fading. It was dark now. It smelled musty. I looked around me. I saw a table that was rotting. I looked down. I saw I was wearing a cloak. I don't know what it was precise, but it was like a cloak. I was wearing a jerkin, leather armor. I had a dagger. It was almost like I was an adventurer or something back in the medieval times. It was weird. It was strange. I shouldn't have been seeing it, but I was. The ground, it was creaky wood. The door frame, it was rotting. The door itself was falling and rotting as well. And then I see my friend show up. And he's there, and he's excited because he knows I'm here. He knows I see the same things he is, and I'm ready to go with him. It's strange, though. It's so strange seeing these things. He opens the creaky, rotting door, and when it breaks open, all I see is cobblestone. I see horses going. I see all these different people. I see short people that I thought were dwarves, taller people that I thought elves. I saw something that looked ferocious, like a demon almost. I saw orcs. I saw angels. I saw this whole new world. This thing that should not exist, but it did. I could see it clearly. My reality has shifted. And under all of that, I saw his room. I saw what was the normal world. I saw the carpet there. It was just slightly hiding. I saw the bed, but it was just hiding. And he gave me this big toothy grin and decided to take me out. And he showed me around a city. He called this city the City of Diamonds. I didn't know why he called it the City of Diamonds at first. He didn't give it any actual name. He just called it the City of Diamonds. I was confused. But then I saw the ground. There were diamonds everywhere on the ground. And I don't mean like something that looks like diamonds. I mean pure, natural diamonds. Speckled all over. They were everywhere. They had no value to people. I saw people wearing diamonds all over the place because they were sparkly, as if they were just common bracelets, as if they were common stones. But if I could take any of those with me back to where I came from, it would make me a fortune. But I didn't say anything about that. I was too shocked. I was in too much awe. And then my friend started explaining things, and I didn't understand him clearly. He was talking about how I was ready to be an adventure. I was ready to explore. I was ready to start finding my way through this world. And what I learned in this world could be applied in the other reality. He said that if I was lucky enough to be attuned to magic, if I could learn magic here, I could use that magic outside. I could use that magic on the other side. But he said I only had so long in here because the pill's effect only works for a couple hours at most. But while that pill was working, this reality would be my reality. And so I followed him. He took me to the Magus Guild, the guild where all the magics really happens. He took me in and he brought me in. He had me tested, or he wanted to have me tested. He handed a couple coins. I thought they were gold. I'm not quite sure. They might have been silver to the guy behind the register. And the register pulls out a crystal. He gives me the crystal and he says, feel the crystal. And so I'm not sure about this crystal. I don't know. I'm still not sure about this world. I think I'm hallucinating, except this time it's way worse. But at the same time, I'm excited for this reality, because if this is the truth, then I have a new land. I have a new home to explore. I am able to be better than I was before. I would be able to find a truth about myself that I didn't know there was. And honestly, that was what I was looking for. No one knew what I was thinking but myself at this time, I think. Maybe my friend who lived here before knew. But even then, I would say he didn't. I was excited in a weird way. But that excitement was going to lead to so much more. Because that crystal, when I grabbed it and I started feeling it, I tried to put my mind in it. It started glowed brighter and brighter until the room was covered in light. The magician behind the counter smiled and said I had a huge aptitude for magic. Like I was able to go far. I'd be able to learn some of the strongest, most forbidden magic there was if I ever had access to it. But I had to put in the work, I had to put in the effort. It was took hours, took months, took years to train. It was only be worth it if I was worth taking it. I accepted because I just had a feeling that this was the right thing for me to do. It was my calling. I wasn't sure why I felt it was my calling. I just felt it was my calling. I knew. And so I followed him to the back. He fitted me with these robes. These robes kind of gave me this feeling of increased connection to what they call the Aether. This world's magic system was the Aether. And as you connected the Aether, you could ask the Aether for a favor, so to speak. And that's how magic worked. The stronger your connection with the Aether, the more magic you could cast. The stronger the magic you cast, the faster you could recover casting your magic. Your body is the medium. The stronger the magic you cast, the stronger your body. And it was exciting. Because if that was true, then my body was going to be extremely strong. I wouldn't have to work out anymore. No more exercise. It was all magic. And I could laugh it off and say it was magic if there was magic. And no one would believe me, sure. But I would find it hilarious. And my friend, he seemed to disappear. He vanished. And the world started shaking. But I didn't let that bother me. Instead, I followed him into the room. He fitted me with the ropes. He gave me the books. And I started reading, because that's what I was supposed to do. He told me to read. And once I learned everything in the books, I could start truly learning magic. And so I read and I read. And these books had all sorts of theories, these sort of ideas, these things that I needed to cast magic, a connection, how to cast the spell, how to build, how to form it, how to make myself become one with the Aether. And at first, I thought it was just random mumbo jumbo. It took me a while to understand what it meant. But when I did, when I finally understood what it meant, it was like a whole new world opened up to me. My sight, my vision, it's changed. Everything got more vivid. Like the green that I thought was just pale and lonely. No, that green was so much brighter. It was so much stronger. It was so much deeper of a color. I just didn't realize it at the time. And there were many, many examples of this. I didn't realize how many examples of this there were. But my life changed right then and there. And with that, I learned about the Aether. I learned about all sorts of interesting things, these facts, these new world tidbits, these things that don't work in our world, in our reality. But here, it did work. And it shocked me. I found that my physical body that I had was nowhere near as strong as many of the people. I found that the fact that I bled here and that I died here the first time meant nothing because I wasn't part of that reality. I was part of my reality. And if someone were to kill me in my original reality now, it would mean nothing because this reality is the reality I was in. It was like I could shift between dimensions, and these dimensions played by two different rules. A couple hours in, the world shook again. This time it faded around me and I was back in the carpeted land. I scrambled to look around, and I saw the shadows were still there. I could still see the robe on myself. I could still see the book that was in my hands. But I couldn't touch it. I couldn't live with it. I wasn't in that reality anymore. And it was like something stood still near me. And I realized that time was up. The pill was over. I wanted to take another one, but my friend, he stopped me. He told me that I would lose myself if I took more. That I could only limit myself to once a day. Because if I did more, I would lose myself. I would be gone. And I might not be able to come home. And honestly, I didn't want to come home. But if I told him that, he'd be worried. If he was worried, then there would be problems. If there was problems, then he might call for me to have some help. He might prevent me from going, or if I did go, he might prevent me from being there. He might do everything in his power to make my life miserable if I was there to where I wouldn't want to go. I didn't want that, so I followed his rules once a day. And so the days became different. The day would start off doing homework, going to school. After the day ended, we'd finish whatever homework and then go to the world, the other reality. I would study the Aether, I would study magic. I would start developing that connection. It didn't take long. It only took me a couple weeks. It only took us a couple weeks. And I was able to learn basic Aether control. I could make a ball of Aether and throw it, and it would track my targets, almost like a magic missile. I could build a barrier around myself that would prevent basic punches, basic kicks, anything that wasn't really covered in its own magic. And it was amazing. I could slowly start building a ball made of Aether that was like a fire, that was hot, that burned. I couldn't quite control it yet. I couldn't make it yet. I couldn't keep it yet, but I could start. And I knew how to do it. And it excited me. And so I wanted to start sneaking the pills at night when no one would be watching, when no one would care. But I knew that if I lost track of this reality and I could never come home, I would be sad. I had that feeling. I felt like if I did get lost, I would want to have the ability to come home. I would want to have the chance to come home. But it was just there. It was the want to just to never come back. And at first, I fought the feeling of wanting to stay. And I fought it. It took weeks for me to really start developing the feeling of never wanting to stay in that world. And that feeling was getting stronger. The feelings of wanting to stay in our reality were getting lower and lower. Sure, I could use the Aether now in our world. Sure, my life was turning around. No one asked me questions anymore. I didn't feel crazy. I didn't see visions I didn't want to. I gained a lot more control of other realities. I was able to separate them. But the more I was able to control, the more I was able to separate them, the more I wanted to be in the other one. I didn't enjoy this reality anymore. The technology of the games was great. The world was phenomenal. It was advanced. There was technology. There was science. But there wasn't that mysticism. There wasn't that connection. I felt better in the other reality. I felt like the other reality was me. That the reality I was in with my family, with my parents, was fake. Like I wasn't meant to be there. Like it was an accident. And so I really wanted to go to the other reality, the new reality. And so I started sneaking pills at night. So during the day, I would take one, and later on, before I went to bed, I would take one. And while my body in this reality was sleeping, the body in the other reality, the one with magic, wasn't. It was studying. It was working in the world of magic and developing faster and faster. I was able to spend more time. I went from spending 4 or 5 hours to spending 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 hours in there. And the time just kept going up and up. And that's when the problem started. And that's the end of the first chapter.